Hello, welcome everybody to the Big Baltics Bonanza finale. And here we are looking at the competition that's been running for the March 2024. And with me, I've got Melicia and Charles from MrFlag. Say hello.
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 And shortly we'll be looking at the four finalists who've made it through the first round, and the three of us will have a look at those shortly. But before we get there, let's have a look at the other entries that you have submitted.
The designer combined the colours of Estonia flag, blue, black and white, and got raspberry purple, the colours of Latvia's flag, carmine red and white, and got carnation pink, and the colours of the Lithuanian flag, which is yellow, green and red, and got this rather weird gold colour. Raspberry purple represents the people of the Baltic countries united in diversity. Carnation pink represents the beautiful nature of the Baltic countries. Gold represents the rich natural resources of the Baltic Sea, such as oil, iron and phosphate. White represents peace, serenity and freedom. The symbol in the middle is the Austria's tree, the traditional pagan symbol of the Baltics, represented world order linking past, present and future. Guardian of the beautiful and valuable, luck, blessings and success. This one I've called the Baltic E-Unity. The three flags of the Baltic nations stacked geographically on the right or the fly side portion of the flag, with half of the EU or the European flag to the left or hoist, representing the nation's connections to the EU and Europe generally, and representing the Baltic Sea itself to the west of the nations. This flag is called Baltic Way 35 and is a commemorative of the 35th anniversary of the Baltic Way, or Baltic Chain, pro-independence demonstration on the 23rd of August 1989, when 2 million people from Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania joined hands, forming a 690-kilometre long human chain to protest the 1939 Nazi-Soviet pact that led to the annexation of those Baltic countries by the USSR. The blue represents the Baltic Sea to the west, the red represents the determination to regain independence, the white wavy line with leaves to the right represents the yearning for a life in peace, separate and freedom from the horrors of the Soviet-Russian rule, represented by the black. The builder design is a flag that consists of two blue lions on a gold background on the left. On the right side is three fields in blue, black and white for Estonia. This Estonia redesign is a blue background. On the left is a rotated black triangle within a white triangle, within a blue triangle, within a white triangle. This Nordic-style Estonian redesign contains the flag's original colours, blue, white and black. The colours keeping their meanings of blue for the sky, black for the forests and white for the snow. The flag has been rearranged into a Nordic-style flag with the Estonian coat of arms. Surrounding the coat of arms is the EU circle of stars to show Estonia's EU membership. The yellow and green are taken from the current Lithuanian flag. The cross is yellow and with two bars because you see it on the shield wielded by the knight on the country's state flag, otherwise known as the Vitus. The shield and symbol are based on the Lithuanian coat of arms, the Gediminas, but with the colours changed. The national flag of Latvia can sometimes be mixed up with that of the flag of Austria. This very mild revision adds more detail to the story of the blooded battle tunic. On removal of the knight's belt, an area was left unblooded, and these added details show a belt buckle and three holes where the blood was splashed between. This Latvian flag redesign with the official coat of arms in the middle has white that represents peace and independence, the red represents freedom, sovereignty and the blood of the Latvians. The dimensions of this flag are noted as a 6:4 ratio. Another Latvian flag national redesign, but in a Nordic style to represent the Nordic countries. Diagonally coloured quadrants are equal to the Baltic themes. The flag has a heraldic feel to represent their old history. One Baltic is this proposal for a united Baltic nations of Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania. The design is an unbalanced vertical tricolour in blue, orange and white colour palette with a central inverted ring and black triangle motif. The blue represents the Baltic Sea, which lies to the east of the Baltic states. The burnt orange represents the past, its turbulent history, and always symbolises the Baltic Way, the human chain that connects all three countries north to south in a protest for freedom. The white represents the future, peace, and also the landscape, often found under a blanket of snow. The inverted ring and black triangle symbolises the unity between the three nations to become one stronger together. This unification flag with the dark blue that stands for the Baltic Sea on which the Baltic nations border, the dark blue wavy line stands for the waves of the shoreline, the black outline of the Baltic states signify the unification of the people as well as the lands. This is the Union of Baltic flag, the dark red cross to resemble the naval ensign of Latvia, the black diagonal cross to resemble Estonia's naval jack, with also the blue from the Estonian naval jack to separate the colours, and finally the columns of Gediminas as Lithuania's symbol to be included as a sign of strength of the nation. This redesign includes the original colours of the Lithuanian national flag. There's the coat of arms representing the government and culture, and a stripe in the middle representing also culture, which looks very similar to a Belarus type of style.
Okay, so now we have 4 more to go through, but these are the 4 that have gone through the phase 1. So we've our first lot of judges, which include a flag enthusiast podcast and various other vexillology type of people who have been voting. And they've given Melicia, Charles and myself 4 now to choose from, and it's out of those 4 that will be the ultimate winner. So what we'll do first is that we'll have a look at each of these 4. And then between us, we'll choose who is the big Baltics Bonanza winner of them all. So are you 2 ready to get going?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Right. Well, let's go in the order that I've got them in, which is no particular order, but let's get cracking. And the first one I just want to look at is what I've called the Akka symbol. I'm just going to read the blurb that was given to us by the designer on this. So we've got the blue, black, white of the colours of Estonia. We've got red and white of Latvia, and of course the green, yellow and red for the Lithuania. The cross is the Akka symbol, who represents water and the Baltic Sea. Akka, also called a double cross, symbol of the sun and earth, experience and knowledge, unity and world order, start of agricultural year, speaks of new possibilities, new ideas, plans, the beginning, new information, urges one to adopt resolution regarding the course forward of their life, cast aside doubt and insecurities, summons one's courage. So, which is quite an in-depth explanation from our design on this particular one. Throw it open to you guys. What's your thoughts on this particular one?
Well, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at first, but now that you've read the description, I like it a little bit more.
Okay, I quite like it. I mean, it's a busy design,
Yes,
which is not always good when viewed from a distance. However, it's an unusual, unique design. Doesn't look like anything else. And I think that's very much in its favor. It also doesn't have a plain white background, which I'm never a fan of. I think probably if I saw this from a couple of 100 yards away, I would recognize it for what it was.
yes.
And that's a big test with a flag. I'm not sure I would leave the red cross elements just sitting on the colored backgrounds. I might wanted to have suggested a white fimbriation around the cross, just to give it a little bit of, so that the cross pops out a bit. But I like the worryingly sophisticated reasoning.
Yes.
That's clearly a lot of thought has gone into that. And all in all, I think it's a really competent, worthwhile design.
And I agree with you completely on that. And I think at a glance, it is, as a unity flag, if that's where we're going with it, it ticks all the boxes in my head, with the color scheme and how it's set out, and not trying to sort of emphasize one particular country more than the others. So again, I think on that side of it, it works. For me, as you probably know, I don't do busy flags, but for me, I think it's just the right side of not being too busy for my liking. You're right, Charles. I absolutely get you lose the red on some of the colours, especially on the green and the blue. It loses slightly. So, and going back to your point, Melicia, is once you know that, and I find that with a lot of flags, once you understand the story that sits behind it, you start to have a bit more of appreciation behind it, and your perception changes mildly than just a design on a flag. So, yeah.
One other point about this, as I think about this design as a flag maker, I can imagine if it were in use throughout the Baltic states, I can imagine people adding a symbol in that white box in the center to differentiate their municipality or region from others. So you might end up with a collection of flags which from a distance are all the same and therefore unifying, a little note in the center to represent their particular location.
Great idea.
Thanks.
I like that. I'm all for uniformity, and I quite like that idea, actually. Yeah. Cool. Good. Right. In that case, then I move to my next alphabetical one, which I think I called the Baltic Folklore Unity. At the top and bottom are the sea green waves representing the Baltic Sea in its greenish colour. Between the waves on white is a Baltic folklore sun symbol when the countries did not exist as sun and had more in common, replicated 3 times horizontally for each of the 3 Baltic nations. They are each coloured with the Baltic national flag's colour, with the symbols of Latvia and Lithuania not centred to provide a rough symmetry, I get that, and the red exterior that they have in common. And Estonia takes centre place. So I understand why they've arranged the colour scheme in that order. Thoughts on this one?
Love it.
Okay. Charles? No, go on.
Why do you love it?
Because it's pretty.
You love it because it's pretty. Okay.
No, I like the sea green colour.
I also love it. I mean, I'm never a fan of too much white, and this perhaps is just slightly too much white. I think if it were me, I would want the edges to deepen slightly, to get rid of more of the blank white rather than increasing the size of the individual symbols. But I think it's a really effective design. Again, it doesn't look like anything else. It somehow evokes the complexity of some of the flags of the stans with, the sort of the carpety type tapestry designs, but in a very Northern European way. But I immediately think of people in heavy furs leading reindeer and that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? It's got that sort of native Northern European feel about it, which is a very clever thing to have just made me think that by just looking at it. No, I think that is very effective. I love the meaning behind the symbology. It's a very, very lovely flag.
I agree. I think the only thing I would I would disagree with is that I would probably keep the wavy lines the same and make the suns bigger. to the point I would almost get them to touch. I would love to see what it would look like if the suns were bigger and they touched each other.
Well, there's a reason why I didn't choose that route. It's because the closer they get and the further away you are as a viewer, they become one symbol. But the distance that they are apart, they will remain separate and distinct even from a distance. So I'm just thinking of it as a flag maker. I have to think about flags, not just how they look on the screen in front of me, which is like this, but I have to imagine how the thing is going to look from a distance. So I wouldn't want them to blend into a single indistinguishable line.
That's probably why you do the job that you do, Charles, I'm guessing.
I'd like to think so.
Whereas I get a bit fussy. I'd love to see how that would look different. But I take your point. I mean, I'm no designer at the end of the day, so I see where you're coming from. But I like how they've incorporated the individuality of each of the colours, the national colours, into each of them.
I can see people weaving and printing fabrics for other uses with this on much the same way that a tartan would or something like that. I think it's
a
easily become a thing. Yeah, it could easily become a thing. Yeah.
Yes. Gosh, yeah, definitely, yeah. No, I really love it. I think it's got a lot of potential. I'm still trying to work out the green, whether I actually like that, the turquoisey green.
It's Pantone Baltic, so
Yes.
it really doesn't. They don't leave you any argument, do they?
Oh, this is true. Yes, this is true. It is what it is, and you're stuck with it. So okay, all right. Again, now I've got, yes, you're right. Now you got the story. That's why it is. Okay, so this is the designer's take on a flag of United Balticum. The crest is the Lithuanian double cross. The crest is made up of the Estonian colours and placed in the middle of a bi-coloured flag in the colours of Latvia. In a very, very simple way, that's their words, not mine, these three countries have been united in one flag, each with parts that identifies them as three cultures, but one people. Really wanted the simplicity here. Go on then, Melicia, let's get your take again on that.
I think it looks very Latvian.
Wise words.
Yeah, with something in the middle.
Okay. Okay. I think it looks, for me, it looks like it might be a sort of Polish regional flag, whilst at the same time managing to look like it's one of the Slavs.
Right. Yes.
You know what I mean? It's I think if I were to see this out there in the wild, particularly if it were at a distance, being of an age where my eyesight is not really what it should be at a distance, I could easily mistake this for something else. And if I were in the Baltic part of the world, I might very well assume that it was something to do with Poland rather than anything else.
And I think for me, if we're going down the colour route, I think poor old Lithuania is really struggling on this one. Is my initial. You see the bottom, instead of being white, could have been yellow, which takes it from the Lithuanian flag. Still keep the white fimbriation around the blue shield, perhaps. And I'm not sure if the green against the blue would have worked in the middle, perhaps. But at least we're looking at trying to incorporate all the national colours there into one.
Well, you have to allow with shading, like on the previous flag, the Baltic blue, even with variations between manufacturing processes, it's still going to be that odd blue.
Yes.
Reds, you get. There are places where you can buy flags from where they use the same red in every flag, whether you like it or not, just because it's just easier. So you're never going to get always the same shade. Too many possible misunderstandings. But I like the idea of the yellow bottom.
Well, that cuts out your white then for you, doesn't it, Charles?
Yeah.
It's just,
always the same for me.
Last but no means least. So the designer states as follows: they've based their design on the Latvian naval ensign. It's white filled with intersecting lines in the colours of the Latvian state flag. So really it's a redesign of the Latvia flag is what they're pushing for here, based on a naval ensign. So let's not break the tradition. Go on then, Melicia, for the last one here.
I think, like the last one, very Latvian, black in colour. I do like the design though.
I think I like the image. When I look at it, and I struggle not to see the ends being looped into long lozenges. It just, in my head, it does it. It's like, it feels like the thing has been truncated accidentally by my printer. That is just me. And of course, I have to say it's too much white background for me. I get it. I get that when you're working on a computer or on a piece of paper or something like that, it's the easiest thing in the world to put a design onto a nice clean field. But in terms of flags in the wild, as you look at it from a distance, you fail to see the flag in its entirety. And it just isn't it isn't a viable route to flag design, just for me personally. I know others take different perspective on it, but That's my view.
This was one of the early entries that I had, and me being me with my simplicity of flags, I liked it as soon as it came in. I thought, and I could see what it was doing and what it was trying to do, and I quite liked it. As the others came in, yeah, sort of sidestepped a little bit for similar reasons. I've now got tuning forks in my head as well, a bit like your lozenges. The tuning forks stick in my head on that one, but I do love the design though on it overall. But as you say, does it still pop and stand out amongst the rest? And because they said that it was based on the Latvian naval ensign as well, which is this two-toned Union flag style, isn't it? Or the Basque flag as well, which is a great design in itself. So, and the Latvian naval ensign doesn't need changing in itself. I think it's a great design what they've come up with there, similar to the Estonian naval flag as well, which is a play on that as well. And I'm just wondering whether there's just one element still missing from this design to, I don't know, to incorporate on that.
Can I make a suggestion?
Go on.
I know we perpetually veer off topic, don't we?
Yes.
But that's why we're in flags. You've got 4 excellent quarters of this flag. It seems obvious to me that you might want to fill them with the colours from the other Baltic states. You were going to say that. You didn't say it though.
I know, but you were talking.
That's what I do.
And that white, I was thinking.
Yeah.
The pattern white.
Well, I disagree with that. I like the pattern. I think that fine the pattern being red. I would keep it fimbriated whilst adding a different colour to each of the 4 quarters. I think I would, rather than have it flat on a single plane, I think I would have a way of weaving the different parts of the cross under and over each other to create something which is a bit more I look at it, I've seen everything, and I can look away and I've seen, but if I'm made to go, oh, isn't that clever, by a little bit of weave up and over and under, I think that would interest my brain more.
Right, thanks for that. Right, okay, in that case then, so that's our final 4 that we've been given from the other judges. Are there any obvious ones that we think just don't cut it amongst the others, the other 3 perhaps, and take one of those? So you want to take out the okay. Admittedly, I'm okay with that one as well, Charles.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I think it could end up being the best of all the designs with more work, but at the moment it feels like a game that's been issued on early release and isn't quite finished. The
potential's there. Are we all in agreement and locked in that the Latvian Intercross is the first one to be eliminated?
Yeah.
Sorry, yes.
Yep. Okay, so if we knock out one more, that'll leave us with 2 to choose from. So what's the next one to eliminate? No, I'm with you with the 3 that's left. I can't see how that one could stay in the round.
Yeah, I mean, I again, looking at it from a distance, I wouldn't know that was that. That's definitely my number 3.
Okay, right. I think we're all in agreement on that one, which leaves us with these last 2, the Crest Symbol and the Baltic Folklore Unity Flag, which to me was my top 2 out of all of them as well.
Yeah.
And I like both of them probably equally for different reasons. So this is where I would start to struggle out of these 2 personally. But this is probably why we've got 3 people as opposed to an even number of making decisions on this one. We should focus on who we think should win then and talk the merits of that.
This one's my winner.
My clear winner. Whilst I like and appreciate them all, my clear winner, which has been the winner for me from the moment I saw it, is that one.
Right.
Does something to my brain which immediately identifies that part of the world. Yeah. And I think that's a treat, frankly, and well done, Mintan.
Yes, yeah, I think you're right. I can't disagree with you at all. Minatan, I think that's the one we're going to go for. As we remove the word think, that is the one we're going to go for. It is a splendid design, incorporating, as we've said, all of the Baltic countries there and their national colours in such a beautiful way. Those middle suns that you put in, and everything that sits behind it in your description as well. I think that's it is a brilliant design. And as you say, Charles, it does scream that part of Northern Europe in its world. And yes, the elements of it doesn't just have to be a flag, where you could see that on placemats, bed covers. It could, yeah. That could take off.
I could see myself in a headband, with that on it. I must get one. But it's a unique, interesting, and exciting design, and there's something a little bit timeless about it. So I really like it very much.
I love that they've used Pantone Baltic as well.
Yeah, that is clever.
Yeah, clever.
Thank you everybody who submitted a design. It's given all of us, including the other judges, some great joy going through all of those. Thank you, Melicia and Charles, as well, for being on this final judging panel, and secondly, and more importantly, offering the winner a proper flag of this. So I'll obviously get printing and we'll get that sent out. And Minette, thanks very much again for your submission. It's a beautiful design, as we've all discussed, and a version of that will be on its way to you, or momentarily, of course. So thank you everybody who's been involved in the Big Baltics Bonanza for this March 2024. It's been a pleasure seeing all the designs, and for everybody who's been involved in all of this. So thank you very much for all of your time.
Well done, everyone.